favorite people, good evening, good day, good afternoon, good morning. See, this is the Russian style autumn with these leaves, yellow and red, which was so many times hailed by Russian and Ukrainian and all Slavonic poets like Pushkin, like Yesenin, and many other. Tutchev, actually, if someone into Russian poetry. Of course, everyone is shocked and thrilled by the events of bombing my beloved Ukraine. 7 or 8 cities, actually their energy infrastructure, were bombed, and many citizens, hundreds and even thousands cities in those countries, including my hometown Lviv, they just were disconnected from electricity. A metro in Kharkiv, it's right now defunct. People are hiding there, although President Zelensky dismissed the alert, the emergency alert. The situation is far from stable. But I'm not going to discuss you politics about whether or not this act of apparent retaliation from Russia was endorsed or not. This is again, the question is not. I'm not going to blame someone in particular, but what caught my attention is official Ukrainian representative. He rightfully pointed out that it was just too little time elapsed since the events, that apparent terrorist attack on Crimean Bridge, as a result of which the infrastructure of Crimean Bridge was crucially it was destroyed, and it will take months right now to rebuild it. That's for sure. This is apparent. But he rightfully pointed that that truck, it was ostensibly moving from Georgia and Armenia through Krasnodar region, and then it entered the vicinities of Crimea Bridge. Again, I don't know. I don't like to cite unnamed sources because we're so much used to blame for spreading the unsupported information. So I'm not gonna. I don't like to spread this anywhere. Please don't do that. This is what I read. This is what I heard. But it may well be an act of terrorism from Ukrainian radicalists as well. But again, there was very little time elapsed since that event occurred, and the person from Ukrainian side rightfully pointed that the real investigation didn't have simple time to be conducted properly. Therefore, what happened actually is just without the proper conclusions from the thorough investigation, there was an order to bomb in apparent act of retaliation on the Ukrainian cities, although ostensibly civil construction weren't exposed. Still, the cities remained. Some of them, some of the regions, some of boroughs remain without power, without electricity, and this is an act of vandalism. But it's not. Again, this is not Russia. This is how modern politics works. Let's revisit back in year of 18 and 19, the investigation against former president of the United States, Donald Trump. Remember, he was accused of being ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin, that Putin ostensibly interfered in the process of the US election, etc., etc. Again, I'm not a politician. I'm just giving you some, food for brain. And it's up to you, my dear friends, my folks, my brothers and sisters, to make your own conclusion. I'm not imposing you my own conclusion. But what happened back then? Actually, the opposing administration, they didn't like that person that much, that they tried to plot up the evidence against him. And even though it was an official investigation by special attorney Robert Mueller, I think, which concluded no collusion and no obstruction, still, even though that decision was made, was voiced, he was still tried to be impeached. He imposed collusion, etc., etc. Never ending story. Why? Because he personally acted against some other group of people. And this is how this group of people decided to pursue him no matter what, whether the evidence is available or not. See the similarity with what's happened overnight. There was a even Maria Zakharova, the spokesman for Russian foreign ministry, he is like mocking all the time. He's making a parody about the English phrase highly likely, right? So this is what happened with Crimea breach was apparent act of terrorism, and highly likely that it was conducted with the help of Ukrainian some like Ukrainian special forces. I don't know. Nobody knows. And apparently, it was really so little time to find to make a proper finding. So highly likely, special services of Ukraine were involved in that. Highly likely, exactly as it was the case back then. That highly likely Russia interfered in the U.S. election, but there was no evidence. There was a special attorney appointed, and he didn't find any evidence that it was the case, but it was just still highly likely. That's why the Russian consulates were raided by FBI, etc., and so on, so on. So close circles of former President Donald Trump. They were subpoenaed, they were imprisoned, they were blah and blah, and and all that stuff. So highly likely, similar situations. And can we change this? Probably we can't at this point, but we need to work it out, because see what's happening around us. A small, very narrow group of people, they are pursuing their own interest, and in order to win, they punish their enemies, and at the same time, ordinary people like you and I, they are forced, they get involved, and some of them even get killed. So how long we're gonna tolerate this situation? Can we change it right now? Apparently no. But if we are not gonna if we're not gonna deal with it, nothing will ever change. Again, smaller group of people, our politicians, they act on in favor of themselves, of pursuing their interess. Their unleashing act of violence, of unfair judgments, of like utilizing the state machines, and in this particular situation, they're utilizing the armed forces. So once again, this is something which is it's 21st century, but we act like it's like a law of jungle. What's happening? Based on unfounded evidence, based on personal hatred, small group of people acts against other small group of people, and they basically they involve ordinary people, and these people like they being killed.